been, so, people underestimate the what it takes to be in this business. And when we went to China, however many years ago it was, and had the tryout, Zaya came from a village where she didn't even know what WWE was. She was this incredible athlete, involved in mixed martial arts, involved in all kinds of different fighting skills, CrossFit, incredibly fit. Her personality just was huge, even though she barely spoke English. But she had never, she came from a small place where she had never heard of what WWE was. And I remember them saying to her, it's like Kung Fu Theater, and like her, oh, okay. And then she came in for the tryout, and just watching her over the course of like 2 or 3 days, like just fall in love with it. And by the end of that week, she was in a place where, I think her soul would have been crushed if we didn't bring it to the United States with us. And when we told her that she was going to come, there was a moment before we told her that, the day before, where I was doing an interview over there, and she did the interview with her, and they were telling me about her part of the interview, and they said, what if you get chosen? Like, does your family know you're here? And she said no. And what would happen if you get this opportunity and you tell your family you're going to have to move to the United States? Like, it was like they would disown her. And she just said, like, at this point, like, now this has become my dream. So I would have to tell them that this is my dream and I have to do this in a place where that's not how it works for women, in a small village where that's not how it works, that none of that is a direction that she would have been allowed to go in and told no. And then we gave her the call, and then she had to go handle all of that with her family, and against everybody's wishes, sort of follow her dream and come here to a place where she knew, just the other nationals that came with her, and learn the language and just learn every aspect of this. And she's been grinding ever since, and there's moments where you give them little bits and pieces. 4 years ago, we put her in I think it was a little less than 4 years ago, we put her in the Mae Young Classic, and she wrestled Mercedes, and she did spectacular, and she cried that night. And, to see it come full circle to where she is right now, and have the moment that they're in with the Tian Sha storyline and everything else, which has had little starts here with COVID and injuries and everything else, but to just see that, we say this all the time, there's moments like that, which it's why you do this. There's moments like her tonight that, in rehearsals today, I felt like she was having, just during her entrance, like knowing where she was going today, felt like she was having a hard time keeping it together. And it can swallow you up, but then she delivers, and she delivers spectacularly. But people have no idea what that pressure is like. So it just makes all of this so meaningful and so worthwhile. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to the phones. One question per hour, please.
Thank you. We'll take our first question from Jim Barcelon from Miami Herald. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Really good show again. Glad we're doing the Scorsese-Spielberg tag team again. Appreciate that. Guys, can you tell me about the $1 million ladder match, Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, both competitors, but especially LA Knight, and just him now holding that title and representing what you all want him to represent?
Well, so I go to so first of all, when we started this, it was quite some time ago when it was just Cameron Grimes, sincerely. No one had even contacted DiBiase.
Yeah.
And they were, he was just, coming out. We were doing different skits. Damn, that Ted DiBiase. And we were doing that for several weeks. And then, of course, somebody says, geez, should somebody call DiBiase and see if we can get him? So this is one of those stories for us that has turned out so much bigger and better, I think, than we had originally planned. And obviously, then you fast forward and not knowing either one of these two, their backgrounds and the role that DiBiase played in their, growing up as wrestling fans. And I personally wasn't aware of it until I think just last week, when after we made the match and the title. And they were blown away by it. This story had gotten so much bigger. I hope it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, but because they didn't know, they were like, oh my God, this is like, we're going to be having a match for the $1 million championship. And both of them just went on about stories when they were little and having no idea that they'd have an opportunity. I don't know, you always hear somebody wanting to be WWE champion or Intercontinental champion, but they both had a story about the $1 million championship and the role that Ted DiBiase played in their growing up. And again, that's one of those things that never ceases to blow me away here, because we have so much of that at NXT. Just like, again, I won't say who, because they may not be comfortable with it, but just two people on the show today walking out and looking at that In Your House set, and it taking them back to when they were kids. And, and they pulled me aside, and they're like, geez, man, I mean, we just never thought that, this is In Your House, this is so cool. Them seeing, meeting Todd Pettengill was a blast. And so, it's all that kind of stuff, again, has just gotten so much bigger and better as we continue to do some of this throwback stuff. And once again, it's, for all of us older guys, it's a huge appreciation for the role that WWE and some of the superstars of the past have played in, not just our lives, but now in the lives of so many of our NXT stars.
It's interesting to me that we were talking about this. Shawn and I were having dinner last night. That it used to be when we came in to the business, you sort of weren't allowed. You almost weren't allowed to admit that you were a fan.
Yeah.
You almost weren't allowed to admit that you watched the programming, or if you said to somebody, "Oh man, I was a huge fan of you growing up," man, you were just an outcast. And to see that be able to change, and to see guys appreciate it, and what it means to them because you knew what it meant to you, and to see that be able to be expressed now, and admire the businesses in such a different place. It's great, and I'm happy for all of them. I can tell you, the first time that they both Grimes and LA Knight saw that $1 million title for the first time, they both had to turn away and kind of take a deep breath, because they both got tears in their eyes, and it was really cool to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from Alistair McGeorge from Metro UK. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hey,
Hi guys, how's it going?
very good. Yourself?
You all good? Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I wanted to touch on Todd Pettengill. I was speaking to him this week, and he said basically he's very open to doing more with NXT and with the company at this point. Is there any interest from your side, or is it likely this is going to be kept sort of in your house?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. With like a Pettengill opportunity as to be regular, or?
Yeah, he said basically to me this week that he was very open to that idea and would like to do more, but was happy to fit in wherever you guys sort of see fit.
Yeah, I think I think in these situations there's always stuff to do. The tricky balance is nostalgia being nostalgia, and then it being, too much of that, and it becoming, the reason it's nostalgia is you saw it so much growing up that you love it, and you want to see it come back and see the group come and play their biggest hits and all that stuff. If you do it too many times, then it can become overwhelming and not nostalgic anymore. Now it just becomes current, and you're not that interested. So it's a fine balance. I'm wide open to working with Todd and doing other stuff with him, and hopefully we can do a lot together. I think there's room for all of that. But it's a fine balance, and we just have to be cautious of that,